On November 10, 2025, a headline seized the world's attention, echoing across continents and sparking conversations in every corner of the globe. Philippines unveils strategic runway on Balabac Island. The announcement was more than just a local story. It was a global event, instantly making waves in diplomatic circles and military briefings alike. News tickers blazed from Manila to Washington, the message unmistakable, a bold move in the world's most contested waterway. The South China Sea, long a flashpoint for regional tensions, suddenly had a new focal point. This wasn't just infrastructure, it was a declaration. The construction of the runway was a statement of intent, a physical symbol of sovereignty and resolve. In Manila, crowds gathered around screens, faces lit with pride and anxiety. The air was thick with anticipation, as people realized the magnitude of what had just happened. Years of watching foreign vessels intrude, of fishermen harassed, had left a mark. The memory of those tense encounters at sea lingered in the national consciousness, fueling a desire for change. But today, the mood shifted. Finally, a punchback. For many, it felt like a long-awaited moment of justice, a sign that the Philippines would no longer be sidelined. Social media erupted in support for the armed forces. Hashtags trended, videos went viral, and messages of encouragement poured in from Filipinos at home and abroad. Across Southeast Asia, the reaction was mixed: admiration, caution, and a sense that the regional balance might be shifting. Some saw hope, others saw risk, but all recognized the significance. In Hanoi and Kuala Lumpur, leaders saw courage and risk. The move forced governments to reconsider their own strategies and alliances. Knowing the stakes had just been raised, the move signaled that smaller nations were ready to assert themselves. It was a message of unity and strength, a call for others to stand tall in the face of pressure. But boldness invites reaction, and everyone wondered, what would China do? The world held its breath, anticipating Beijing's next move in this high-stakes chess game. News cycles were dominated by analysts debating the implications. Experts weighed in on security, economics, and the potential for escalation, their voices filling the airwaves. Was this the start of a new era in the South China Sea? The question lingered, as history and future seemed to collide in a single moment. The runway's reveal was masterful, kept secret until the last moment. The element of surprise amplified its impact, catching both allies and rivals off guard. The world scrambled to grasp the full scope of the Philippines' audacious move. Journalists raced to provide context, while governments issued statements and convened emergency meetings. The message was clear: the status quo was over. The old patterns of deference and hesitation had been shattered, replaced by a new sense of agency. For Filipinos, it was a turning point, a sign their government was finally taking a stand. Pride surged through the streets, mingled with hope and uncertainty about what would come next. For the region, it was a wake-up call. Leaders across Southeast Asia realized that the rules of engagement had changed, and that the future would demand new strategies. The Philippines had drawn a line, not in sand, but in concrete. The runway was a permanent marker, a testament to resolve that could not be easily erased. The world was watching, and the stakes had never been higher. The game had changed, and everyone knew that the next moves would shape the destiny of the region for years to come. The official unveiling was more than just a ceremony. It was a bold declaration of intent, a moment that signaled a turning point in the nation's history. The air was thick with anticipation, as leaders and citizens alike recognized the gravity of what was unfolding before them. On Balabac Island, the president stood before the newly completed runway, flanked by the nation's top military leaders, and addressed the nation with unwavering resolve. The significance of the location was not lost on anyone. It was a message to the world. For too long, our silence has been mistaken for weakness. Today, we speak with action, the president declared, his words echoing across the airstrip and into the hearts of all Filipinos. The message was clear. This runway is not an act of aggression, but a necessary step for self-preservation. It stands as a shield for the Filipino people, a vigilant guardian of the nation's waters and sovereignty. Suddenly, fighter jets roared overhead in a powerful display, a show of newfound capability and determination. The thunderous flyby was a symbol of the country's readiness to defend its interests. Moments later, a C-130 transport plane touched down smoothly, proving the runway's operational readiness and the military's ability to respond swiftly to any challenge. Every detail, from the crisp uniforms to the meticulously arranged flags, projected strength, discipline, and unwavering resolve. The Balabac Gambit, as some began to call it, marked a decisive shift, from relying solely on diplomacy to embracing a blend of international law and hard power. It was a new strategy for a new era. The Philippines was now ready to physically project its presence, asserting its rights and responsibilities in the region with confidence and clarity. The message was unmistakable, both for potential adversaries and for the Filipino people themselves. The government was finally matching its words with decisive action, inspiring hope and unity. National pride surged as Filipinos celebrated this achievement, and the world took notice of the country's renewed determination and spirit. The era of passivity was over. A new sense of purpose and resolve had taken root, breaking the chains of hesitation. The Philippines had entered a new chapter, one defined by courage, unity, and an unwavering commitment to sovereignty. Balabac Island is the southernmost tip of Palawan, a remote and rugged outpost at the edge of the Philippine archipelago. Its wild beauty hides a strategic importance that few realize. It stands guard over the vital Balabac Strait, a narrow maritime choke point that links the South China Sea and the Sulu Sea, serving as a gateway for ships traveling between the Pacific and Indian Oceans. Whoever controls Balabac controls a strategic corridor for global shipping and naval movement. Every year, thousands of vessels pass through these waters, making it a lifeline for international trade and military logistics. For years, its remoteness was a vulnerability. Illegal fishing, smuggling, and foreign vessels often went unchecked, exploiting the lack of a strong presence. The island's isolation made it difficult to monitor and defend. Its proximity to the disputed Spratly Islands placed it on the front line in a tense standoff with China, making Balabac a critical piece in the puzzle of regional security. The construction of a new runway has transformed Balabac from a blind spot into a forward operating base, allowing rapid deployment of forces and supplies. Now Philippine jets and patrols can reach farther, stay longer, and respond faster to any threat or emergency in the region. The island's skies are no longer empty. The island is no longer a gap in defense. It's the nation's eye in the sky, with advanced surveillance and radar systems keeping watch over the surrounding seas. The new runway and military presence complicate any adversary's calculations, forcing them to think twice before making a move. A defended strait is a powerful deterrent, sending a clear message that the Philippines is ready to protect its territory and interests. With this base, the Philippines asserts real control over a critical maritime gateway, projecting strength and sovereignty in a contested region. The balance of power in the region has shifted, as Balabac's transformation signals a new era of vigilance and preparedness. Balabac is no longer just a prize to be claimed, it's a fortress, standing watch over the nation's southern flank. The Philippines has fortified its southern frontier, turning Balabac into a symbol of resilience and national defense. Building the Balabac runway was a feat of secrecy and determination. Engineers and military planners overcame immense logistical hurdles, moving tons of materials to a remote island. The runway is built for the Philippines' most advanced aircraft, with hardened shelters and advanced radar. Fuel depots and maintenance hangars ensure sustained operations. Defense was built in. Positions for missile systems and coastal batteries create a layered shield. The base is more than an airfield. It's a fortress, designed to project power and withstand attack. The project united the Army, Navy, and Air Force, fostering unprecedented cooperation. Its completion, on time and under wraps, boosted military morale. The Balabac base is proof of the Philippines' capacity for complex strategic projects. It stands as a testament to Filipino ingenuity and resolve. The Balabac runway became a symbol of unity in a divided nation. Jacques Balabac ice hours trended for days, as Filipinos from Luzon to Mindanao rallied behind the project. In schools, businesses, and fishing villages, pride surged. Fishermen saw hope and protection, not just concrete. The government amplified this wave of support, replaying the inauguration and celebrating the builders. The narrative was clear. This was a triumph of Filipino spirit and self-determination. The runway was a message to the world, especially China, that the Philippines would not be intimidated. It marked a shift from pawn to player in regional politics. The nation had found its voice and its backbone. Balabac was proof of courage and conviction. Beijing's response was swift and severe. China accused the Philippines of militarizing the region and warned of consequences. State media painted the Philippines as an American pawn, the Runway a threat to peace. On the water, Chinese vessels increased their presence, shadowing Philippine boats and patrols. Gray zone tactics intensified, intimidation without open conflict. Chinese surveillance flights probed Balabac's defenses, testing radar and response. The Runway became a flashpoint, drawing the very threats it was built to deter. For the Philippines, this was the expected price of boldness. The increased Chinese presence was a test of resolve. Would Manila back down, or hold the line? The new base allowed the Philippines to meet pressure with presence, shadowing the shadowers. The standoff was silent, tense, and fraught with risk. The South China Sea had a new center of gravity. The stakes had never been higher. The Balabac Runway marks a shift from passive defense to proactive deterrence. For decades, the Philippines relied on diplomacy and its alliance with the U.S., absorbing blows rather than preventing them. Now, the doctrine is clear: deter by demonstrating credible power. The message by note: aggression will be met swiftly and at a cost. With Balabac, the military can sustain a constant presence in the West Philippine Sea. Patrols are more frequent, surveillance is relentless, and intruders can be challenged within minutes. This changes the regional dynamic. Others must now respect Philippine control. The shift is psychological as much as strategic, from victimhood to agency. The Philippines is taking the lead in its own defense. Alliances remain vital, but Balabac proves Manila is a capable partner, not just a dependent ally. The Runway is the embodiment of self-reliance. The nation's security is now firmly in its own hands. The world took notice of Balabac's unveiling. The U.S. voiced support, reaffirming its defense treaty and welcoming a stronger Philippine partner. Japan and Australia quietly approved, seeing the move as a step toward a free and open Indo-Pacific. Vietnam and Malaysia offered no public comment, but insiders noted quiet encouragement. Some nations worried about escalation, urging restraint and dialogue. The international community was divided, reflecting the high stakes. For allies, Balabac proved the Philippines was serious about security. It opened doors to deeper cooperation and joint exercises. The Runway became a new asset for the alliance structure in the region. The Philippines was no longer just asking for help. It was contributing to regional stability. The Balabac Runway is more than concrete, it's a turning point. It extends the nation's defensive reach, protecting waters and people. It's a symbol of resolve, a break from the past, and a source of pride. For Balabac's community, it brings hope, jobs, and better disaster response. In crisis, it can save lives as a vital hub for relief. The Runway is both shield and inspiration. It marks the moment the Philippines changed the game in the South China Sea. A legacy of courage and foresight, it stands as a guardian for generations. The nation looks to the future with new confidence. Balabac is a foundation for a more secure, prosperous Philippines.